Well, according to some of our public health experts, everything that happens, good or bad, is more proof that we need more lockdowns. If coronavirus cases go up, we need more lockdowns. If they go down, you know what that means? More lockdowns, because that's science.
We've seen this before. Metrics improve, states roll back restrictions. A few weeks later, cases spike. What goes through your mind when you see states roll back restrictions right now? Are we in the clear?
Oh, no, this is such a bad idea. Who slows down once you break into the lead? It makes zero sense.
So the Biden administration is taking this advice seriously. Instead of reopening all of the schools right now, as the science calls for, the White House has a new plan. They're promising that in a few months, about 50% of schools will be open, and by open, they mean for 1 day a week. Well, if that sounds terrible for kids, just relax. That's how science works. Sometimes you have to make it up as you go along out of nothing. For example, just a year into the pandemic, the CDC declared that everyone really should be wearing 2 masks. So if you're only wearing 1, you're a science denier. Alex Berenson knows this routine well. He's the author of Unreported Truths About COVID-19 and Lockdowns Part 3, Masks. He joins us tonight from an undisclosed location. Alex, it's great to see you tonight. So you've been calling for schools to reopen on the basis of the actual science for quite some time. What do you make of where we are now?
It is absurd, and you know, it's been obvious actually since last May, really, arguably late April, that schools should be open. You know, in places like Australia, they were talking about reopening schools that early. The Biden plan is ridiculous. It actually is a step back, believe it or not, from where we are right now. The reason Joe Biden doesn't want to call for an immediate reopening of schools is he knows he can't do it. Donald Trump tried that and he failed. Donald Trump was not beholden to the teachers union, so it didn't cost him anything except embarrassment, I guess, or it just showed that he couldn't do it. For Biden, he'll anger his constituency, he'll look weak. So he's not going to do anything that's going to anger the teachers unions. Instead, he's going to have these ridiculous metrics that can't be met. And you know, meanwhile, every day goes by is another day when tens of millions of kids don't get socialized, don't get to see their friends, don't get potentially out of abusive homes.
I got to ask you something. I just because I can't control myself, and it's about you specifically. So you've been on the show for almost a year. I've never asked what your politics are. You used to work at the New York Times. You're a novelist. I assume you're a Democrat. Don't answer.
Yes.
But I don't think you're any kind of right-winger, okay? Don't think you ever have been. You've been talking about science for almost a year on this show, and because of that, people have really started to be mad at you. You're also a novelist. Tell me, like, what effect has speaking out about what the data tell you had on your life? I can't resist asking you.
So Tucker, you know, the data, listen, I wrote a book that came out yesterday. That book's called The Power Couple. It's a novel. It's got nothing to do with COVID. I wrote it before COVID. I wrote it in 2018 and 2019. I cannot get anybody to cover that book. The New York Times, all the places that covered all the previous novels that I wrote for the last 15 years won't cover it. And I can only surmise that that's because they don't like what I'm saying about COVID, that I'm not on the train, that I point out the problems with masks, that I've recently been talking about the question of whether vaccines are as efficacious as, you know, as the clinical trial data made them seem. All the stuff that is science-based, they don't like, and so they can't hit at me because I don't work for them anymore, but they can prevent me from getting any publicity for the Power Couple, and now and I haven't, and it hurts me a little bit, but you know what? I'm a big boy. Those are the rules of the game. We'll move on. I'll keep telling the truth.
I hope maybe sometime you will take your ample energies and think through and write a book maybe on what this is about. How did science get so political? Why does quoting studies make you persona non grata in certain parts of the country? I just think it'd be interesting to hear about that. You know, good luck. Appreciate it.
Yes, my next book will be nonfiction, I can tell you that.
Good. Congrats on the novel. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tucker.